And welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. As I told you earlier, we are celebrating International Women's Day here in studio with a cross-section of beautiful Kenyan women from our society, and I'm going to introduce them to you right now. Please do get in touch with us. 22422 is our SMS line, and if you're online, use the hashtag #OpinionCourt. And we're asking you online to tell us what it's like to be a Kenyan woman. So keep your responses coming in, and we'll sample them at the end of this broadcast. And now, to my immediate left is Patience Odhiambo. She is a teacher by profession, but is currently a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Next to her is Canon Rosemary Mbogo. She's the chairperson of the NCCK. Next to her is Washeke Ndwati Omanga, who is the founder of Centonomy. And to my immediate right, communications at Kenya Human Rights Commission, here is Wanjeri Nderu. Welcome. Next to her is a young musician, Marianne Mandy. Welcome to the program. And finally, the woman in charge of all our security tonight, it's Eunice Kuto. She is a senior guard at the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi. And you're all welcome to the program. And happy International Women's Day. And it feels so good to have all women on my set today. I want to start with you, Canon. Let's just talk about the state of the Kenyan woman and how she is positioned both by faith and culture.
Thank you. The greatest thing to do and to begin with is to appreciate the fact that women are the cradle, the very womb bearers of the society in Kenya, and therefore they are very fundamental in what it is that arouse us to talk about the citizenry and the humanity of this land, because they are the nesters of life. So we do not have any individual in Kenya who is really not a product of a woman, and that is something to appreciate. It's also key to appreciate that there are diversities in matters faith. There are also diversities in matters culture. So we can't talk of a uniform cut across culture that we would say this is the Kenyan culture. But what is primary and critical is that every societal grouping within the country, as well as every faith group, needs to be very concerned about the positioning of the woman, because she, in her design, is intended to be part and parcel of the holistic life that we need to have as a people together. And so from your perspective, I mean, we hear a lot of modern thinking that faith in particular has subjugated the woman, has put her in a position of inferiority, some would say, submission, others would argue. What is your own view on how faith affects the position of women? It's critical that we acknowledge that it's not a cut and paste, it's not a flaw of a voice that just paints somebody, but it's how each particular faith grouping interprets their faith. And the women within that faith, together with the men in that faith, in collaboration, work towards getting their positioning.
My perspective on faith comes from a human rights background, where I have seen faith misused to oppress women. There's something I'm struggling with where we have maslaha. Maslaha is a system in the Muslim community where a child is raped, a woman is raped, but instead of, the proper justice system taking its course, the man is fined. The other day we had a child gang raped. The men were fined 4,500 shillings and I think 2 goats. So faith is relative. If we allow faith to oppress women, it stops being faith. It becomes a tool of oppression. And today I was challenging my Muslim sisters and brothers, and I was telling them it is a good opportunity today as International Women's Day to use it to talk against the use of maslaha in the sexual gender-based violence crimes. I'll give you a good example. This is the lady called Fatima, the one who had a knife in her head. When the case came to me, the first thing I was told is, no, don't get involved. They're going to deal with it as, the elders. But it took social media for that woman to be flown to Nairobi, you know, and get the knife removed. And the man was charged and he got 20 years in jail. That had never been seen, because what would have happened is they would have gone under a tree with the wazers and would have been told, bring 2, 3 goats and this clan will discuss with this clan, but she would have died. So faith, yes, is good because it makes us believe in a higher power. But when it is used to oppress women, it now stops being faith.
The faith does not teach subjugation or slavery. But faith is believing God. And so any faith that dwells on violation, devourment, is really not faith. It is disobedience to the very authority of God that we run from the teachings of scriptures. So it's important that the women themselves come to the study of that faith in themselves and come into terms and then be able to take their position in faith. And then the women who have been given, you know, advantageous positions should take it as their responsibility to mentor and journey with those that, of course, as mentioned earlier, are not aware of what are their rights, who are not aware of what they need to know to stand up against abuse, to stand up against devourment, to stand up against, you know, violation. We do have a responsibility that is not just limited to ourselves. We have a responsibility to reach out to others and be of support, so that there are cohorts of support groups across even generations, so that we are able to bring down anything of faith or of culture that is destructive to the very life that God intends to protect.
All right, let me open it up to everyone. What is it like to be a Kenyan woman in 2018?
I think it's fantastic.
Okay.
I think what is happening, and I talk especially for women in business, a lot of women, and at Centonomy we teach people about business, so we're seeing a lot of women coming up. And I think women are starting to realize, I have something unique to offer. Before it used to be about, do you have land, do you have money, then you can't do anything. But I think women are starting to realize, and I'll go back to even to the faith, it's first, I have a unique purpose. Yeah? If I plug into that purpose, I can use it to solve a problem in society.
Right.
The vehicle I may use to solve that problem in society is a business.
Right.
So I think we're seeing a lot of people going back and understanding the skills that maybe before, in the way traditional used to think, if I'm good at taking care of my kids, for example, that is a lot of skill. That is coming with a lot of skill that you can transfer into so many things. If you can run a home, you can run a business. Yeah. If I'm good at listening to people, we sit in support groups and people tell me, people used to tell me from a very long time ago, Sheka, you're really good at listening to people. I honestly tell you, my business is about listening to people and understanding how to communicate back to them.
Right.
So we're starting to understand that natural soft skills as well that women actually come on the table with are very valuable in today's society. And especially when you're running a business, emotional intelligence is the #1 thing you need. And women are very in tune to understanding, being able to create cultures in the offices, in the organizations, and plugging into the unique needs, how to talk to a customer, what a customer really wants. So I think I'm seeing a lot of confidence in the space of women in business and starting to say, I have something I can use.
Marianne, you're the youngest amongst us, and how we all envy you. Tell us, what is it like to be a young Kenyan woman in your 20s? And do you feel that you have perhaps more opportunities than my group of women did and others here?
Yes. I feel like, as opposed to the past, right now where we are as Kenyans, there's a lot of activist groups that are pushing forward for women to be at the forefront. And while I was growing up, I was scared. I was not self-aware. I was told being a woman was an insult. Like you act like a girl. You like man up. You get. But now I'm more aware that being sensitive, allowing myself to be, how should I say it? To allow my sensitivity,
maybe your vulnerability.
My vulnerability to show is okay, and I can put that forth, and I don't have to be ashamed of it.
Okay, amazing. I want to go to the classical state of the Kenyan woman, and I think, Patience, you exemplify that in very many ways, because society does see us first as being homemakers, as being moms, as keeping the family going, and it all rests on you. Yeah, it is an incredible burden that I think only a woman in your position can understand, that being a stay-at-home mom is not lounging in the house, but it is a complete commitment. Do you feel that Kenyan women, that first is a position that is respected by society, and that you have the right support to build a family, which is the basic unit of our society?
Okay, I do not really think the society appreciates stay-at-home mom. And in as much as people may think it's not just some good work to do, we still think it's a very big sacrifice on the end of the stay-at-home mom or any other mom that is going to be at home. So I really don't know what to say exactly on the stay-at-home mom bit, but I believe with time, the society should agree that a stay-at-home mom is a total manager, like any other person. There is so much that she has to do. There is so much that she has to take care of as one person. You go to sleep, she is still awake. So the day ends up at 4 when everyone is asleep. But you still have to really go on to the next day and split it over to ensure that everything is...
Yes, the work hours, as it were, you're always on the clock.
Yeah, you are always running.
You exemplify a different kind of woman. To me, you are the woman who really proves that we can do anything. Women in the security sector, be it private or state, is not something that is common. Often, in fact, we are the ones who are seen to be in need of protecting. How did you end up getting into the security sector, and how do you do your work every day, knowing that there are many who may not necessarily view you as the one who can protect them, not because of your skill, but just because you're a woman?
Okay, thank you, Anne. I think in my profession, security, we are termed as the first line of defense. So when it comes to saving lives and protecting property, it doesn't matter who you are. Life comes first. And when it comes to securing property, you have to have that confidence. It's only confidence that you need. So when you are put in a situation to safeguard life and property, like for example, I work at the security in the embassy, and you know how to protect the embassy facility. You need to have that confidence. I, as a senior guard there, it took me courage, and it needs all the support that I have to reach that state. I'm a senior guard. There are those women who can do it better, but I tell you, I do it better than those men.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me return to you, Washeke, because we were talking about financial inclusion earlier, and one of the things that has disempowered women over the years has been the fact that they do not hold the purse strings. And because they do not hold the purse strings, they're not able to make decisions for themselves and their families, and that decision always has to have the okay of a man. Do you think the financial sector, be it banks, lending institutions, are waking up to the reality that women do need equal access to finance? Are they able to get it? Do they get it at the same rate? And are women now being able to embrace an additional role of, handling the money purse?
So what has happened over time, when it comes to savings, opening a bank account, that going to the stock market, any woman can go and actually get that. But when it comes to issues of maybe borrowing and leveraging so that you can achieve bigger things, traditionally women did not inherit the traditional asset of property and was not passed down to women, so a lot of the times they don't have that security. But I think to change this will require two things. Of course, the financial industry to start looking at, like for example, women are the people who pay, they don't default on loans. It doesn't matter if they didn't give you security, women do not default, and they have the statistics. So we must, as a society, start changing our mindsets about what security is. So many people who have had those properties have defaulted on securities, and the banks have been left with properties they can't even sell. So that was not even secure. But I think even as women, it's time for us to step up and understand we can do it. Yeah, you can create wealth on your own terms, and not to be afraid, because we also have suffered from cultural beliefs that I'm a woman, I should not be earning more than my husband. So a lot of the times women subconsciously keep themselves small because they are scared of upsetting the status quo. And even if you're not the primary breadwinner, and I'll go back to the stay-at-home parent scenario, it's understanding you may be out working, but my job here is just as important as you. So you who's bringing in the money, there should not be a power struggle that because you bring in the money, you call all the shots and make all the decisions, yeah? Because we want to be together when we decided to have children here, and that's how we have to, we have to look at it like that.
You are, as you've rightly said, from a human rights perspective, and you know, we've talked about, we moved from women's rights to saying women's rights is everybody's rights. It's the same rights. What would you say is the position of the Kenyan woman in that respect? And in your line of work, do Kenyan women have the same access to justice, the fair treatment at the courts as Kenyan men?
I don't think so. As again, from the background of human rights, when you look at a woman trying to get justice, the system does not work for the woman. Look at rape. If a woman is raped and they take the samples, it will take up to 2 years for your sample to leave the government chemist, for it to be presented to court, for the case to proceed. All this time, this woman is being re-victimized with mention after mention, with hearings. And also we have a culture where the woman, after you've been abused, it's up to you to prove the abuse. So it becomes more one of those, what did she do? What were you wearing? We also have the disadvantage of many women do not understand what their rights are. So you find when it comes to going to court for cases, whether it is land or property or fraud or whatever, lawyers tend to take advantage of women. In fact, a lot of the people who are discriminated against in law, or lawyers conning them or defrauding them, is the woman. So
because they do not know their rights.
Yes, because we don't, women, I think we have this illusion that we're supposed to be protected. So we don't feel the need to protect ourselves by learning some of these things. So these are things that maybe we need to deliberately educate our women about.
Right. I'll come round now for final comments. So what do you have to say to the women who are watching, and I would say policymakers as well, who I know are watching in terms of what is yet to be done?
I think I'll add to what she said. We have a challenge to unlearn everything we've been taught in the past. All those things we've been told that we are the ones, we need to be protected all the time. We can't speak for ourselves. We can do those things. We can defend ourselves. I can do her job. I need the confidence and the courage. So I think the challenge here is to preach for young women in Kenya to unlearn all those things, culture, toxic lessons from culture and all those things we're being taught, and learn the good things that will make a positive change.
A mom struggles to go to work from 5 to 6 in the evening, or even to 10 in the evening, without even giving a damn what the kids at home think of. So the kids at home really struggle, and the society is not appreciating that. At least they should support these mothers, so that the mother does not have to be outside since 6 to 10 p.m. in the night and leaving the kids by themselves or with the house help. So the kids at home lack parenting. If we can make these kids have the parental care, if we can encourage more mothers to at least take some time to be at home with the kids, so that we can bring up a better society, a society that does not translate everything into monetary values, then that society would be a better place. So just keep encouraging people to at least take even a year to take care of the young one. That person needs some warmth from the mom.
I think what you're saying is incredible in terms of workplace policy, and especially helping women who do want to be on a career path, should get back to work, but also to, be mothers and be present.
Yeah, and there is this discrimination of a mother who is not working at that point.
Right.
People think of you as someone who has nothing to do, you are so lazy around. That should be, it should be emphasized that when you are at home taking care of the kid, that is the most important thing you can do to the world today. It's the best you can do to that kid. It's the best you can give to the society. So encourage most moms, we just try the society to encourage most moms to give that parental care and love.
Right,
Yeah.
and to support them in that
support,
endeavor.
and
Washake.
support, yeah.
I'd first of all have a message for all the women out there. I think at the end of the day, it starts with you. It starts with, you can't fix, even though society became perfect and you didn't work on yourself, nothing would change. So my message to them is give yourself permission. We have to first say yes to ourselves before we expect other people to say yes to us. So sit quietly by yourself and one day just write, what do I actually want to do? What am I passionate about? And allow yourself to do that. Once you do that, you'll be able to understand, what do I need to put in place? Some of the things we've talked, what do I need to learn? What are the boundaries that have to be put in place in my life so that this actually happens? And to society, I think women are on the rise, so to stop assuming that success comes in the shape of a man. To start understanding now, the person on the other line is a woman. There are many times people have written to me letters and they've called me Mr. They've just assumed it's a Mr. on the other side of the line. It's very annoying, yeah?
Right.
So to society to wake up and start understanding women.
And because you're dealing with money as well.
Because I'm dealing with money, so some of times they automatically assume. And to the financial sector, to understand women are the best bet. Women are going to fuel economic growth. You've understood women pay you back. Women save. Women invest. Let's face it. And they are serious about their lives. They are purposeful about their lives. These are the people you need to bank on and change your mindset about what security means for women in business. Yeah.
Couldn't end it better. Women are the best bet. I thank you all for your views. We're back after this.